So we're going to continue today with Rooted in Connection. And Lava has already beautifully set us up because I'm going to be talking about trees today, y'all. So if you don't know, over the last couple of years, I have grown very fond of trees. And I was looking at this book called The Hidden Lives of Trees by Peter Wallenben. He was a German forester and an author. And his book is about the intricate social network and behaviors of trees and the way that they communicate through this root system across the world, across the planet, right? And he mentions the redwood trees in California, how they have this elaborate interwoven root system with the other redwood trees that are around them, because the roots of redwood trees are not deep. And so they support each other. He said, when you see the roots of a redwood tree, it looks as if they're all holding hands with each other. And then the pando tree, I discovered the pando tree a couple of years ago. It's a tree in Utah. It's also known as the quaking aspen. And it has genetically identical and connected, it's identical and connected by a single 80,000-year-old root system, making it one of the largest and oldest living entities on the earth. It is a forest, y'all, a forest that is one tree. So I invite you to Google the pando tree and you will see what I'm talking about. It's one forest, but there are thousands of, it's one tree with thousands and thousands of its duplicate, one forest. And then we come to my tree. So my tree is in walking distance from me. And her name is Tree. I asked her one day, what's her name? And she said, just call me Tree. And she lives in the woods near my house. And I was drawn to her because she has one trunk and then it shoots up and goes off into two trees. So it looks like a twin tree to me. And so, you know, because I have my girls, my twins, that really spoke to me. And so I've been visiting with Tree for a couple of years now. And at least I would say at least once a week, I go and we have a good talking. And so she's really become a part of my spiritual practice. And sometimes I'll just go there and I'll pray. Sometimes I'll go and I'll just talk to her. Sometimes I'll go and I'll just lean up against her and just be. And I swear I could feel the energy from her. I could feel the vibration. It's as if she's like humming into my spirit. So these last couple of months, as many of you know, have been very challenging for me and my family. And I've been making a point of going to the woods and just pouring out my heart to Tree. Sometimes I'll just go and cry. And again, I could feel the vibration of the tree as if it's holding me. And this last Tuesday, I decided when I got back from celebrating our soul on Monday, that I was going to go and visit Tree. And I was particularly heavy. My spirit was particularly heavy on Tuesday when I got back, because, you know, when you're away, you could kind of keep things in the background. And then when you come home, it's like, whoosh, right? It's all right there again. You know, it's there, but you could kind of like, I'll deal with that when I get back. So when I got back Monday, it was a whoosh for me. And I had found out the Friday prior, the doctor called me while I was away and informed me and my family and my Aunt Marion that she has ovarian cancer. So I went to the tree and was prepared to pour my heart and soul out to my tree. So I'm walking towards where she is. And when I get there, Tree is gone. gone completely. The only thing that's left is some dirt, and I see a couple of branches scattered around. Absolutely gone. And I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, maybe I haven't been here for a week. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot. And I looked, I saw my bench was right there. I saw this other tree that I always notice. This was the spot where Tree stood. And now she was gone. And I just stood on the spot where she used to stand. And I was confused, sad, upset, like all of the things, and wanting to understand what happened. I don't know if she got struck by lightning. There was no stump. There was nothing. It was as if it was never there. And I just stood there for a good while. And when I stood there, I said to myself, my tree is gone. What does this mean? Because that's where I go to. When things happen, I immediately go to, what does this mean for me? Like, what is the message here? And I just stood there, and I just stood there. And then a feeling came over me, and I realized that I was standing on Tree's roots. That I was standing on her roots, that underground Tree's roots are still connected to all the other trees and also to me. The other thought that came to mind was what I had been talking about for these last 2 weeks on Morning Sip with Rev Melissa. I've been talking about this Japanese concept called wabi-sabi. And wabi-sabi is a way of living that focuses on finding beauty in imperfection and accepting the natural cycle of growth and decay. So Wabi recognizes the beauty and humble simplicity. It recognizes the spiritual richness in everyday living. And Sabi is about the passage of time, not time like it's 1 o'clock, time as the cycle of life, the cycle of emerging, of flourishing, and of dissolving. And the cycle isn't linear. The cycle is a spiral, right? Just like our DNA. And so I stood there and I just started sharing with the roots of Tree what was happening with my Aunt Marion. And in a flash, I closed my eyes and I could just see flashes of Tree in her spring of emerging, in her spring, in her summer of flourishing, in her fall and winter of dissolving. I could just see it like in a flash, that this is the cycle of life. And her not being there, Tree not being there, was dissolvement. She had dissolved. Her physical appearance that I could see with my physical eyes had dissolved. And it made me think about my Aunt Marion. It made me think about the times as a child of me seeing her emerge, of me seeing her flourish. And now I am gifted with being present with her in her process of dissolving, of leaving and transitioning from this physical plane, because it is the cycle of return. And we all return. We all return home. So there will come a time that I will no longer see her in physical form. But what I know, what will never dissolve, is our connection, because we are rooted in connection. We are planted and grounded in connection with each other. And so just as Tree will emerge and continue the cycle in the invisible realm underground, so too will the soul of my Aunt Marion. I believe she too will emerge in the invisible realm, in the spiritual plane and dimension. I believe that she will bless me as my ancestor. So beyond what my physical eyes can see, but my spiritual beingness and her spiritual beingness will always be connected. For the connection is eternal. So there is truly a divine connection that each of us are rooted in, even when we forget that we are. The connection is infinite. And guess what, y'all? Just like Lava said about Wi-Fi, this connection has no static. There is none of that. Can you hear me now? The connection always hears us. It's always rooted exactly where we are. So I ask you, where are you in your cycle of life? Are you in your emergence? Are you in your flourishing? Are you in your dissolving? Is it time for something new to emerge through you? Is it time for you to dissolve something that you've been holding on to? Because I tell you, when we hold on to things that really need to be let go of, the emerging cannot occur because there is no space for it. So if it's time for you to release something, let it go. Because that which is seeking to emerge through you will emerge. And not only will it emerge, it will flourish. It will flourish. And that flourishing will serve all who are connected, who are rooted. And guess what? We are all rooted. We are all connected because we are rooted in connection, that interwoven, intricate, elaborate, magnificent root system is who we are as spiritual beings. So can you see how your life is rooted in connection? There are no separate events, y'all. We could look at life as separate events, but everything really is one thing. And oftentimes we can't see how the connections connect. We can't see how this dot is connected to this dot because years have gone by, maybe. I didn't see the connection last December when I decided to have August be the month that we talk about connection. I didn't see the dot when I decided last week that my theme for morning sit will be wabi sabi. I didn't see the connection when I left to go to celebrating our soul and come back and my tree is gone. I didn't see the connection when 4 years ago, when COVID happened and I decided to walk in the woods, that I would be drawn to this tree. Of all the trees that are there, this one, of all the trees that are there, this one is dissolved. This one. That is not a coincidence. There are no coincidences in our lives. There are only connections. We're using the wrong C word. It's connection, not coincidence. So we are connection itself. The definition of connection is united, joined, linked. And the origin of the word is from a Latin word that means to tie and work with together. And the definition of rooted is having roots firmly implanted. And the origin of the word root is an Old English word that means cause and origin. So what do we know about cause? We know that there is one cause. We know that there is one origin. We know that there is one root. And we are connected, united, linked, joined, tied together, and firmly implanted within the one cause, the one origin, the one life, the one root. And I wish, Lord have mercy, that we would get that. Ernest Holmes puts it this way. He says, our life is rooted in the universal and the eternal, which is life, which life is none other than the life of God. I'll say that again. Our life is rooted in the universal and the eternal, which life is none other than life of God. We are the life of God. So there is one life, one root. That life is God. That life is good. That life is my life. That life is your life. That life is Aunt Marion's life for eternity. If we see it with these physical eyes or not, it is infinite. Like the Pando tree, we are many from the one. And from this one root that I call God, that I call love, that I call joy, we are the many. Rooted in connection. Nothing, no one, no event, no election, nothing can disconnect us from the one cause, from the one root. Nothing, not even dissolving, not even death. So I want to share this with you in closing. It comes from the Tao Te Ching, and it's verse 16. So I just invite you to take this in as our spiritual mind treatment today. Let's take a breath. Become totally empty. Quiet the restlessness of the mind. Only then will you witness everything unfolding from emptiness. See all things flourish and dance in endless variation. And once again, merge back into perfect emptiness, their true repose, their true nature, emerging, flourishing, dissolving back again. This is the eternal process of return. To know this process brings enlightenment. To miss this process brings disaster. Be still. Stillness reveals the secret of eternity. Eternity embraces the all possibility. The all possibility leads to a vision of oneness. A vision of oneness brings about universal love. Universal love supports the great truth of nature. The great truth of nature is Tao. Whoever knows this truth lives forever. The body may perish, deeds may be forgotten, but he who has Tao has all eternity. We are rooted. We are rooted in connection. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.